I've been sitting on the couch too much, and I think it's starting to destroy my back. So I'm like, I got
Oh,
to
for sure.
sitting at a chair. I can't be sitting on a couch hunched over it
I get it.
19 hours a day.
That is that feels like a lot of hours of the day, Dan. Do you not get up and just walk around?
Nope.
Cool.
Don't sleep.
Good.
There's no sleeping. Those other 5 hours are my meals.
No sleep till Brooklyn. 5 hours of meals. Now you're talking. That's not bad.
The Tony plan. You put me on that 5 hours of meals plan, goddammit.
Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. It's like watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm going to hold up my weird white arms. Ooh.
Your right one looks far more white than your left one. Is that accurate?
Right. Well, I have my driving arm and my non-driving arm. So this
yes. So this one's it's up
appreciably wider.
Up at the window, and you're getting all those window rays.
Yeah, this is my tandem machine. Even though I don't drive a lot, but when I would drive a lot, yes.
Sure, that checks out.
Welcome to the Off-Topic Show. This is Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
And I'm Tony.
And we watch movies and become the world's most critical assholes and make all sorts of proclamations about how things are the worst things ever made. Mm-hmm. And I will make those proclamations today.
Oh, yeah. Today's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one because I picked a dilly of a movie, Jonah Hex from 2010, clocking in at a solid 1 hour, 21 minutes.
I mean, thank God that they made that decision, because if it's any longer, I'm losing it. I'm walking out and I'm quitting.
I'm actually going to say something that is such a terrible, terrible thing to say. And it's in some ways it's correct and absolutely incorrect. This movie was too short.
I don't know if length is their problem. But they had a hard time filling the 80 minutes.
Yes, they did.
So I'm not sure making that longer is going to make it better.
I guess just the point I want to make straight up front is that some of these action scenes or set pieces are so incredibly short. You're just like, wait, what happened?
That's true.
Something just happened, and I'm not quite sure what happened, and it's gone, and wait, we're moving on. And so,
but then,
in some sense, this movie could have benefited from having things a little longer, but if they were longer, they would just have been worse. I guess is my point.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe in someone else's hands, this movie should have been longer and filled out some things and made a little more sense. But if there was just more of this bullshit, I would have lost my mind.
I was going to say, this is maybe the worst movie we've ever watched.
It's definitely in contention.
It's not the movie I hated the most. I would rewatch this movie way before tons of the movies on this list.
Agreed.
You can kind of sit through this movie and you're like, okay, this is weird, but just useless decisions, bad decisions. Nothing really. What did we do last week? We did Independence Day. Some great special effects in that movie. There was you had Jeff Goldblum, fun. There were things you were like, I like those plants that they went through on the alien ship.
Sure,
et cetera, et cetera. I could say like a bunch of positive things. It was not a good movie, and I didn't hate the film. I didn't hate these filmmakers necessarily. I just was like, I felt sorry for them.
I don't even know who I would hate. Did someone make this film? I don't know. I'm kidding. That's mean. The guy who made this didn't do a whole lot, so I feel bad about it.
It's kind of sad because the director worked on like one of my favorite properties of all time, which is a cartoon.
Freebirds.
No, I don't even know. I mean, I saw that. I didn't want to research what that was. He worked on.
It's just a shitty animated movie. Sorry. Yeah. What?
Right? Oh, is it about birds?
Yeah, it sure is about birds. Free birds.
Don't do shit about birds. Birds. No. Just if you're thinking about doing bird, actually, I do some bird comedy, so I shouldn't talk. He worked on Reboot, which is a Canadian, the first really 3D animated Canadian cartoon.
He does do a lot of animation.
Yeah, I mean, he came off of Horton Hears a Who to go on to this movie.
Yeah, whoops.
And I'm gonna ask you this. I was watching this movie, and at a certain point, I said to myself, this feels like goddamn Ghost Rider. And then the guys that wrote it worked on the second Ghost Rider movie. Because Ghost Rider is another movie based on a comic book, which shouldn't have been made into a movie because the comic book character is not really resolved as interesting. And Jonah Hex, as we will see when we begin to talk about this, suffers from that times 1,000.
Have you read any Jonah Hex?
I am a lifelong comic book reader. I never read Jonah Hex. Nobody read Jonah Hex.
Me neither. Yeah.
It was horror western is what Jonah Hex was. And it existed in this sort of DC Comics secondary horror / western thing that I think they just did these books to fill up area of the newsstand. I think they sort of were almost like obligated to make a certain amount of books, and that included these westerns because they could not have sold well. And once again, this character, there's nothing to this character.
They use Jonah Hex in the CW Arrowverse as just kind of like a tangential side character.
Sure.
Great as that. He pops in every once in a while and it's like, oh, this is fun. I love Jonah Hex. In charge of his own movie where I'm following his storyline, I don't give a shit. I don't care about any of it.
Now, in the Arrowverse, does he have like these magic powers?
No. Not really. I mean, you don't ever see him talk to dead people. I'll tell you that much.
Those are magic powers, yes. In this movie, he can grab a dead person, bring them back to life. They can fight with him if they want or do weird things. And then he can punish them with pain.
I don't understand his powers. And they don't really explain anything. He was just like, well, I almost died one time and now I can talk to dead people. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And that
doesn't make any sense.
Kind of can control crows, sort of.
Is that okay? Did you get... I wasn't sure. There was a lot of crows. That one scene, there's like 80 crows just like following him. I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
You kind of expected him to use the crows at some weird point. Like, crow.
Don't expect it because he didn't do anything with the crows.
He never did anything with the crows. And so we set up, and the setup is sort of faux comic book animation style. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
And basically, what the setup is he joined the Confederate Army, but didn't really care about the Confederate Army. And so they were going to burn down a church or something with people in it. And so he turned in his army, and then they all got killed for being that. And then he got blamed. And then Turnbull was the dad of one of the kids that was his best friend that got killed. And so he kills his family and then makes him watch and then lets him go. And then Turnbull gets killed in time. And then Jonah Hex is left to just sort of wander around and be a sort of killing machine.
Now that sounds like the entirety of a film, but that is the first 5 minutes of this movie, almost entirely in voiceover over cartoon, like just still images. What is happening? I was listening to this whole thing. I was like, this is the movie. Why am I hearing this? This should be the movie, if anything. What the hell is this movie going to be about? And then, spoiler alert, it's about nothing.
Well, it's about a guy who thinks he can shoot a big cannon at some buildings, and then that will make the South rise again, or something.
Yes.
It's your
please explain to me Malkovich's plan in this movie because I don't get it at all.
He's gonna blow up wherever he blew up. I mean, I actually, truthfully, I have no idea what he was even blowing up at the end. Was it the Capitol? Was it Washington?
It was just a guy. It was the president was there, right? And he was giving some sort of speech, but I didn't see any people around. Like, it's not like it was a big crowd of people. And he's like, "Today is our Independence Day," to quote Independence Day. But I have no idea, dude.
Yeah, at one point he shoots the cannonballs at the end, and it's just sitting in the middle of this empty road.
Yep, there's nobody around it. It didn't hit people. People aren't running from it. It was just like, okay, yeah, blow it up. Who gives a shit? What is happening?
But the whole idea was it was like an allusion to like nuclear weapons, which doesn't make any sense.
And where did they get these glowing orange balls? They make the orange balls joke, and I was like, where did they come from? I don't understand the rules of the movie.
Basically, they have when Aidan Quinn is the president, he explains that they built this super weapon, but they didn't sort of maybe finish it, and then of course they Horcruxed it. They hid it in a bunch of secret places.
I like that that's a verb now.
To Horcrux.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the whole idea is there's this weapon that they've hidden around, and basically it's like these normal cannonballs, and then when you shoot like the bonus cannonball into the middle of the normal cannonballs, you get like an atomic blast.
I have a question on cannonballs.
Yes.
And this is a real Tony's an idiot question on cannonballs. Do they not blow up? I thought cannonballs blew up. Don't you always see like the little wick on cannonballs? I don't know, man.
I do. No, cannonballs are just metal. I think maybe there are some charges that they shoot that then explode, but I think cannonballs are metal. And what a cannonball typically does, probably it goes
sink your ship.
It sinks your ship. Yes, it pokes a big hole in your ship, and probably if it gets going, maybe some of that metal liquefies and then sprays out and causes problems. I don't know. I don't think the heat's enough for it to liquefy that metal. But I don't
know.
Maybe that metal running into other metal causes it to fragment. Maybe there is a fragmentation, but you really wouldn't want a cannonball to be really fragmenting, since basically, what a cannon is, it's just a hook in a tube. So you're putting pressure in the back and the thing is shooting out. You wouldn't want that to
you want it to
spray out right when it gets out the end. You kind of want that ball to go and then have action once it gets there. Yeah, so the idea that these balls have stuff inside them that's activated by the other ball, it's like...
I didn't understand it. It's all very confusing. Anyhow, back to the movie.
And then he goes, "This here's my story. After all that..."
Which I thought that was like the coda of his... I thought he was saying like, and that was my story. But now he's saying, this to come is my story. No, sir, we already heard your entire story. Now we get fucking nothing.
So he rides into this desert town, pulling 3 bodies but behind his horse. And you're like, okay. And then he rolls up, and then we get some bargaining, which always the greatest thing in every movie.
This is my favorite guy in the whole movie, though. The fat dude, the chubby dude. He's like, good Lord, Mr. Hex. This guy's going 12 out of 10. He is going for it.
We certainly can't pay you if you want to kill 3 of the villainous villains that you are supposed to go kill.
So good. This guy's great.
And so he, Hex pulls the 4th head out of the thing and throws it at him, and he looks in there and he's like, "Oh, I'm aghast. Oh, you did get. I'm not going to pay you because something."
Because nothing. There was literally he just didn't feel like it.
And so thousands of people all jump out with guns, and so Jonah Hex throws these carpets that he has on the horse, and he has brought machine guns.
Yeah, he's got fucking Gatling guns on a horse, which is awesome. And then we never see it again.
He Gatling guns everybody down, and then like the one last guy comes out. Oh, actually, this is when we begin the whole thing of him dodging a lot of bullets.
He's fast.
This guy up is shooting at him from a tower, and he's just like, pew, pew, pew. He's full matrixing it constantly.
Yeah.
Gatling guns everybody, and then one last guy is in Jonah Hex's coffin, which they've like left out as which he would have seen like as he was riding into town. He'd be like, 1, 2, 4.
What coffin is that?
And he'd have gone around the back of the tent, but no. So one guy is literally hiding in the coffin.
Yeah. And then what happens next, Dan? He comes out, and then he gets shot back into the coffin. That's a good joke.
Well, and that's the sad thing is it was a good joke if everything was
totally wasted. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. But, it could have been great.
So he Gatling gun shoots that guy. One other thing to say about all this. Oh, that's what I was going to say. First of all, the Gatling gun thing is a thing you use at the end of the movie as a
100%.
glorious surprise.
It's like, it's the moments it's like, oh shit, he's going to kill everybody. Yes. But no, we use it right away and we just kind of, blow our load early. And then there's nothing else exciting
Yeah.
for the rest of the movie.
So then he takes his money off the guy and then makes change, like, oh, I'm only supposed to get 100. I'm a good guy. You're like, why? Just take all the money. Don't make change. Don't be an asshole.
It's the old West. Just take the money. That's the whole thing.
And then what does he do? He blows up the building.
It's almost the whole town. I swear to God. He makes some other dude the sheriff, who's not going to be sheriff, by the way. That loser can't do anything. That town's in trouble. So he blows it up. And now I have another question about the world and when we invented stuff. Did they have gas lines?
Was there gas line?
Isn't that how he blew up the thing? It was like a leaky gas line and he shot it? What did I miss?
I probably was making a note, so I didn't really pay any attention. I was probably making a joke on a piece of paper about the thing. That's how he makes the other dude sheriff. It's so weird. And it's kind of like, I was more thinking, it's like, if you lived in a town where the only business was this one cotton mill, and then Jonah Hex came into town and blew up the cotton mill. It's like, yeah, thanks. We all have to freaking leave now.
Now we got to go find a new place to live. Thanks, bud.
I mean, it's not like...
Animal.
And that's what I was saying about this movie being too short. It's like, we didn't even set any of this up. So it's like, if this was the evil guy that runs the town, we blew that up because he deserves to have his business blown up. But we don't know whose business that was. We don't know if it's that guy's.
We don't know anything.
He was the sheriff. Yep. It wasn't like it was his business.
Yep. Nope. He's just blowing up buildings. And doesn't give a fuck. But he made change, Dan. So he's a good guy. Okay.
And we don't, it's like, I always remember in the first Tim Burton Batman movie.
Yeah.
He drives into this chemical factory and he, in his Batmobile, dispenses all these bombs. And then the entire chemical factory blows up as he drives away. And that was the beginning of my era of movie criticism as to why, if I met Tim Burton, I'd say, why? I understand you wanted to have a building blow up, but that's not Batman. That's cool. That's not a thing Batman does. Batman does not just wantonly blow up buildings because he doesn't know who's in there. There might be
no, he doesn't.
There might be 3 hobos that live behind that factory, and he just killed all those hobos.
Unless, Dan, maybe he's got that technology from stealth where he knows where the people are and whether they're good or bad.
That's.
Do you remember that?
He should push the check building for good guys and bad guys. Oh, just bad guys, I can blow them up.
Just bad. Let's do it. Bombs.
And I mean, I understand you want to be all McG, who was considered to be one of the people up for this movie. I understand you want to have big explosions.
Interesting.
But if they're just dumb, they don't mean anything to us.
Yeah, I'll go on record right now, and I'll say that if Mick G did this movie, I might enjoy it.
At least the action scenes might have been action scenes, as opposed to, we're done with this scene, let's blow the thing up as hard as we can. So, okay, so they blow up the building. So now we have this train's going along. And then there's masked riders that are coming up on the train, and we see a bunch of cannons and stuff. So we're like, oh, there's munitions.
Something's going down.
And so there's a bunch of soldiers in the thing. We unclip the thing, and then the bad guys are covered in dynamite, and they stop the soldiers. And then this other guy blows up the train where his guys are.
Yep.
With the thing, it's like, if these guys really were suicide guys, they should just it doesn't make any sense.
If they should have just walked in and blew themselves up. I don't understand why they were strapped with dynamite, and then he also, maybe it's just to create a bigger explosion.
Couldn't
I
they
don't
just
know.
have waited till the train? Couldn't they have had the guy go to the front, unclip the train, which the guys with the weapons didn't really do anything about? And
did they even notice? I'm not even sure they noticed. I feel like they were just hanging out.
No, they started to get their guns. But
okay, they're like, wait a second, that's not supposed to happen.
It certainly seems like you could have just ridden up right next to there and thrown the dynamite and killed all those guys instantly.
100%. Yeah.
And then, I mean, they did put the line in there as like, oh, say a prayer for the boys that died for doing a thing that was no reason. And this
Yeah.
movie also exploits the whole, I'm a psychotic leader, I'm going to just shoot people in the head. He does it like 4 times in this movie, I think.
With no motive. I still don't understand what he was going for. I don't know his plan, so I don't care that he's shooting people. I'm just like, okay.
Because he has the weird Southern sympathizer guy who's been like giving him all the information he needs, and then at the end he just goes behind him and shoots him in the head.
Shoots him. Yeah.
No reason.
Yep. It's not like it was a loose end that he had to clean up. It was just like, all right.
And what about Malkovich's forehead? I almost got Tony to spit it out.
What about his forehead? I mean, it's huge.
It's like, it's like hideous. It's just like, oh my God. It's like, what is happening? It's so terrible.
I mean, in general, I wasn't a huge fan of the aesthetic of the movie, like costumes and stuff.
Except in one case.
His Jonah Hex's lip, you liked that, didn't you? You want to like just touch the inside of it a little bit. I could tell, Dan.
Buy a Jonah Hex action figure, and they're like $30.
Why?
Because
it's not a collector, guys. It's not a collector's item.
They're made by NECA, and so they're sort of McFarlane-y, where they're expensive ones. And I think people must collect that line now. And even though they're a little bit old, nobody collects NECA. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not buying that.
Blow up the trains. They get the weapons. John Malkovich's forehead. Now we cut.
And that's the movie.
Now we cut to the president, Aidan Quinn, just like having no part of this movie, but hopefully making some good money.
I mean, here's the cast of this movie. There's a lot of good people in this movie that I don't think A, read the script before they signed on, or B, really had any idea what they were doing in the movie. Like a lot of people, like John Gallagher Jr. is in this movie, like before he did Newsroom and kind of like became a thing. And I just feel like why is he in this movie? He plays, do you know John Gallagher Jr.? He plays one of like one of the president's men, basically.
What? Talk about the real casting of what's his name? Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. Yeah. What is he doing in this movie?
In the first scene he was in, I was like, man, that guy kind of looks like Will Arnett. And then he's like in his own scene, and you're like, that's Will. And he kind of plays the asshole guy, and then they kill him at the end. And you're kind of like, huh?
Why did we do that? There was a lot of in this movie when someone came on screen, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we know him. Let me go to IMDb. Yep. We know him. And like, it's a bunch of people that became like bigger than this movie. Thank God that this movie didn't ruin everyone's careers, except for maybe Aidan Quinn. What has he done recently?
Aidan Quinn's fine. It didn't do anything to his career.
Okay. I feel like I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe he just retired.
Yeah. The only people that took a hit from this are the directors and the writers. They all took a hit. Absolutely took a hit for this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the director.
So the president's like, find Jonah Hex, because we know Turnbull is out there doing this thing.
But why? He's like, his reasoning is because they asked that, and he's like, he used to be a hero once. I was like, when? When was he a hero? Because I've heard a 20-minute story about his life before this movie. I've seen him for 10 minutes in this movie. He's not heroic, but he's also not like villainous. He's just kind of blah. I don't understand. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the most like why does the president want this? Like it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Were they friends? Like how do they know each other?
They don't.
They weren't even on the same side in the war, right?
Nope.
So like I have no idea. I don't understand
basically
anything.
Was a traitor to the South for the North. And I'm sorry, that is not the guy you're going to pick, is the guy that was Nobody's ever.
Definitely not.
The point of a Jonah Hex is no one trusts him and everyone stabs him in the back, except the president of the United States. Like, here's the dude that knows better than everybody.
He's going to be my best friend. Best friend.
Okay. So I wrote Hex kills a guy in a bar, equaling he's surly. I don't even remember who he killed in a bar, but he killed somebody in a bar.
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
remember.
here's the good
I don't know.
costuming in the movie. Megan Fox. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
She's very attractive.
In defense, I don't even know. Not even defense. What's the opposite of the defense? Is because you were like, oh, there's one good costume. Is there? The costume's probably the same level of bullshit as everybody else. It's just she pulls it off better than, most of the people in this movie.
I will say this. You have Megan Fox playing a prostitute in 3 or 4 different scenes. You make her wear the same, ostensibly the same exact outfit in all of those scenes.
Yeah.
What the hell?
A terrible decision.
Let her, but she's always like, I'm just in a corset and my breasts, and that's it. Like, okay, I mean, I understand that is appealing, but like, give her some outfit.
Yeah.
Let her dress up fancy one time with a little umbrella or something. Go on a date.
Dan, they didn't give her a character. They're not going to give her an outfit, okay? I don't even understand what she's in the movie for.
She is literally the most superfluous character, I think, in any movie. I mean, it's terrible.
She has like a couple of good one-liners.
Yeah.
But she lifts right out of the movie.
So she's there, and the guy's like, you're mine, I owned you. And then she's like, I'll take a little gun and shoot you in the face. And then he leaves. And then Jonah.
And then she's like, I ain't one for being owned or whatever. And I was like, cool. We got a fun character. And then she's gone for 20 minutes. And hey.
And so Jonah Hex comes in, and they're like in love, and
which makes zero sense. They don't really give us a backstory. She's just like, have you missed me? Because I missed you. What the fuck are we talking about right now?
I wrote, she loves him because he is hideous, just like her soul.
Dan, that's some deep shit. And if that was their relationship, I'm on board. What an interesting thing. That's not what this movie's about, by the way.
And then in the morning, she's like, you gotta go. And you're like, wait, you gotta go?
Why? What's going on?
But I love you. And then he's like, everyone that loves me dies.
You gotta stay away from me. What? Who are these people that all died? Just the one scene where your family gets killed. I mean,
that's the one thing that happened. I mean, yes, all your...
But that's everybody who loves you? I mean, maybe that's on you then, guy.
All your Confederate friends got killed because you turned them in to be killed.
Yeah, you did that on purpose. So that doesn't count.
That's kind of a choice. That's not fate. That's kind of like, all my friends are dead because I drove them to the place where they got killed, because I knew they were going to get killed when I took them to that place, because I wanted to help. I wanted to save some people I didn't know and don't care about.
Yeah.
I'd rather my friends died than these people who I don't care about die. Yeah, because that's...
Speaking of his friends, Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays Jeb or Jed or whatever the fuck, and he's amazing. Yes, sir.
That was
the guy that's in the grave that he pulls out of the grave. That's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, crushing it as always.
If by crushing it you mean having such a small part and being so unrecognizable, you would never even guess it was him.
He was uncredited in the movie. That's what IMDb says. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Jeb, uncredited. And I was like, holy shit.
He read the script and was like, okay, I'm doing this, but you got to put me on the script where you
put my name on it.
Recognize me, and my name is not on the script.
The only Naomi actually caught it. He says one word, and I don't remember which word it is, but it was the way he inflected it, we were like, oh my God, that's Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And we looked it up and it was. This movie.
Okay, so barge in. I don't know what that means. Come with us. Oh, okay. So
the government barges in.
Government barges in, and they're all like, "You come with us," and he's like, "I'll kill you all because I'm Hex, and I can just kill everyone because killing's what I do. Killings."
But he kind of doesn't, because in the beginning, when he brings those the 3 dudes, he's like, "You said they were guilty. That's all I needed." As if like, if they're guilty, he'll kill you. If you're not guilty, he won't. This movie doesn't make any sense. Contradicts itself everywhere.
And so he says, Turnbull's alive. Great. And so then we have a bunch more voiceover, which I think now we start to establish that he had an Indian wife and kid. I think maybe that's when we established that for reasons that really don't matter, and we really don't care, and it doesn't
Yep.
mean anything.
I mean, they don't really explore the why of it, do they? Because that also doesn't really come into play of why they were killed, which I found interesting. Like, I feel like that should have played into why they were killed. If I don't know, I don't understand any of it.
No, they were killed. He killed them because Jonah
killed his son,
Here.
which to me, okay, now we're gonna because I want to talk about Malkovich a little bit more, just for a second, because I don't understand his arc. Because in the beginning, he's killing Jonah Hex's family because he killed his family. We are in John Malkovich's revenge movie at the beginning.
Yep.
And he's getting his revenge.
He got it.
And then we fast forward, and all of a sudden he's this crazy homicidal maniac? When did that happen?
Well, when he finished his revenge mission. His revenge mission was finished.
And then he was just like, well, now I got a taste for killing. I'm going to do it everywhere.
Well, no, he wanted the South to rise again, or South the I don't know. It's a South to rise again thing.
Those two things just don't add up for me.
Don't.
And it bothers me.
And it is super duper weird that you like, why don't you just, he watched your kids, the whole idea that you watch a person's kids die and then you let them go, I never understand that. I mean, if he gets away, and gets burned while he's getting away, I'm okay. It's really vague.
Yeah, terrible setup. Anyhow, sorry, back to the present.
So Jonah Hex is like, he goes over and he talks to a dead guy who tells him where to go.
Yeah.
And then,
what a stupid scene.
And then, really stupid scene. I torture you. You're burning. I give you some dirt. You feel better. It's
Stop the pain. Stop the pain. He's dead.
Yeah, it's the whole hanging a person off the side of the roof and then dropping him and then dropping him again. Yeah. It's
swear to me. That's the Batman.
Oh, sure. Whatever. I don't know
when Batman does it.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Forget it. Swing with me. Let's,
Swing with me.
Is that what he says? Swing with me?
No, he says, he swear to me. Because the bad guy's like, I swear to God, that's all I know. And he's like, swear to me.
Oh,
it's best Christian Bale moment of the whole trilogy.
The best one. Yeah. Oof,
I forget how much you hate the Nolan trilogy.
I mean, if Nolan wasn't involved, I might like it, but Nolan was
sure
that. And
it's too late. Yeah, he was all over it.
We're going to crash this airplane into that building, and it's going to be so boring. It's going to be boring.
It will be very painful for you.
Tenet, very painful for us.
That was, that movie. Woof.
And so that guy gives him a location, and what does Hex do? He just randomly rides off alone. All the military guys standing there, and Hex is now, we're cut, and he's just riding off alone.
Yeah, he's just going there.
The president has told these assholes to go find Jonah Hex and ostensibly work with him. And Jonah Hex just rides off. Doesn't sneak off, just rides off.
Nope. And they're just like, okay, we'll catch you in the next town.
Peace out.
See you around, bud.
Okay. Meanwhile, in South Carolina, Turnbull needs the final piece of the weapon. I don't know what that means. which are in this vault. And so he just is in this vault, thousands of dead people, and they're just carrying him off. And you're like, oh.
Yep.
Okay. That was hard of him to do. He had to work really hard to put together this weapon. And by really hard, we mean he just walked into wherever he needed to go, and there was nothing.
I need that, and I need that. We'll see you around the bend.
Now we get to Pit Tent City, which is the weirdest scene in the whole movie. So he's there to find out from this one dude if the other dude's still alive, right? If Paul's alive.
Yeah.
So there's these two guys fighting in the pit. One of them's like a snake man.
Oh, right. Okay. I could not remember what scene this was. We were talking. I was like, what?
One of the guys is a parkour snake man who runs on walls.
The walls, yeah. Yep.
And we have this whole really boring scene with this, what is ostensibly supposed to be an exciting fight between two characters that we
don't know. We've never met them. We don't know who or what they are. And are there monsters in this universe then? Because that sounds like a much more interesting way to go. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening.
It's so weird. and then he gets the information that he needs, and so he just throws the guy in the pit, and then the snake monster just kills the dude.
Yep.
And then he sets the whole tent on fire and burns everything down.
Because that's his thing, you know?
Oh,
Just
he also walks out, and these two guys are trying to kill a dog or something, so he kills all them, and now he has a dog.
that's where the dog came from. Listen.
He walks
I think I missed that part.
he walks out of the tent, and then all these guys are like, we're going to kill that dog or something. You're just like, why are they killing the dog? And he's like, oh, you're not killing that dog. I'm killing all of you. And he kills all these guys. And then the dog's like, Bep, we're friends.
Thanks for saving me. I'll follow you forever. I swear to God, I looked down for like 30 seconds. I looked back up, and now he's got a dog that follows him. And I was like, where did this dog come from? I don't understand what's happening.
He goes to the cemetery to dig up Jeb. And he digs up Jeb. As soon as he touches him, Jeb like fights him and like kicks his ass. He kicks his ass. And then at one point, I think it was in this one, or maybe this was later. At one point, somebody's like standing on somebody else, like immobilizing them, but they're immobilizing them with one hand and then holding something in their other hand. And you're like, you're not immobilizing someone if your other hand is not involved.
Just got the one hand. Like, I got a lot of limbs I can come at you with if you're only holding me with one arm.
Oh, so stupid. So he apologizes to Jeb, and Jeb's back alive. And then Jeb does this whole thing where he's like, I've been watching both of you. So somehow, Jeb, being dead, just travels around as a ghost and watches anything and everything, anywhere he wants on the whole world.
They said something. They did the one-line Dan, as we call it.
I missed it.
Earlier in the movie, they're like, when you're dead, you can experience the people you were connected to in life or something like that. It was just like a one-off line when he was going to interrogate the first guy. And I was like, what does that mean? It means this.
So it was a setup for 25 minutes later in the movie when he interrogates another guy who just has all the necessary
everything. Which I imagine was they wrote the script. That scene was in there like, well, how does he know all that? We got to go back and fix that real quick because it doesn't make any sense.
Can't good sell that shit. and then is this the point at which he like punches him into dust? Does he punch Jeb into dust? Somebody punches him into dust.
I think he just lets Jeb go back to peace. I think. Yeah. I think that's later.
Oh my God. So okay, now we're back to Megan.
Back to life.
And so that guy that was harassing her comes in there now, and he's all like, I bought you from whoever. I now own you. So she was a slave.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember what happens. She threatens him and then doesn't get it, or she knife him to death.
Yes.
Maybe she knifes him to death. I don't know.
Something.
So
she gets away.
He goes to go see Lance Reddick, who's from The Wire.
Another like, whoa, Lance Reddick. Great
actor. And he's like the random guy that gives him guns. So he gave him the Gatling guns. Which
I think this was just his audition for for that Keanu Reeves flick.
Was he the gun guy in
Yeah, he worked at the hotel.
He worked at the hotel. He was the guy.
He was the concierge.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? So he's like, I need new guns, and so he gives him.
Good evening, Mr. Wick.
Gives him dynamite crossbows.
Yeah, I don't know what they were, and he's like, I'll take them both, and I was like, well, they look like the same gun, so you're just getting two of them. Well, that makes sense. One for each hand, guy.
They're crossbows, but instead of shooting bolts, they shoot dynamites.
That's
what they are? I know it's not.
That's really less cool than I thought.
So now we go and we're at Eli Whitney's super secret war workshop where we're getting the last part of the thing. And this is the point at which I realized Tattoo Face and Bowler Hat is Michael frickin' Fassbender.
Oh, it took you that long?
Wait a second. This is Michael Fassbender as this weird tertiary lackey dude for no reason. One of the greatest actors of all time. Just what?
We all have to start somewhere, Dan. Okay, he's just doing his best in a shitty movie.
So he sees Turnbull. So Jonah Hex is also here because, of course, everyone's here at the same time.
Yeah.
And he sees Turnbull and like stands there for like 5 minutes while Turnbull's doing whatever, smoking a cigarette. He doesn't pull out his gun and shoot. He doesn't go shoot instantly. Nope. He gives him like, let me give you some time.
Finish that up real quick. It's the last one you're gonna get.
Finish your thought, and then I'll kill you. And then, of course, Turnbull like turns around and says, "Everyone!" And everyone just runs up, and we start using the dynamite crossbow, which basically is just another way to kill as many people as possible, as opposed to killing somebody with skill.
Yeah, or like just doing something interesting.
Yes. So Fassbender shoots him at one point, and then he's like doing parkour, of course, because everyone does parkour because it's a movie. And then Fassbender's like got him on the ropes, and he's all like, "Oh, hold on a minute! I'm going to go check in my dynamite because I wouldn't want to shoot and just get the job done because there might be some dynamite to be cared about."
He's got him dead to rights. He's standing over him with the gun, and he's like, "Yes, 1 minute. I'm going to turn completely around, stop looking at you, walk over here for about 30 to 45 seconds, but don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. You better be here when I get back. I'm going to be real mad." What the fuck?
And so then he creeps away somehow, is like, "Horse, come save me!" And Horse,
and then he's like, "Horse, take me home. Take me home, horse." And then they just go, and like the horse can hear him. I haven't spent a lot of time with horses, but I feel like they just kind of go in the direction you point them. I don't know.
Tony, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're sitting down. What are spurs?
They're little throwing stars that go on the back of your boot, and you jab them into the poor horses.
And what do you accomplish by jabbing them into the horse?
I assume a lot of pain in the horse, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go faster.
I'm gonna do whatever the fuck you want me to do.
Just please stop doing that."
Please stop doing that. Yes, jockeys have whips. Cowboys have
also spurs. Terrible.
You know what the horse doesn't do? "Hey, horse, run real fast. Run real fast right now. Come on, horse. Start with the running. Fast running.
Let's go."
Horses are incredibly stupid, is my understanding.
But beautiful animals. And maybe we should stop hurting them. And even just us riding them feels like pretty mean. I mean, maybe that's just me. But like, I feel like I would break a back. Like any horse would see me and be like, "I ain't riding. I'm not letting that guy up on top of me."
When you see real stuff about horses in the West, if you rode a horse like how they ride horses for like half an hour, I think it kills the horse. The thing with
that's what I'm saying.
Horses, typically, you ride a horse, and then a lot of times, 50% of the time, you get off the horse and you walk and lead the horse. That is how travel really occurs with a horse. You do not like rail into a horse
and ride
whatever you want. Like real horse ride, because there's this really interesting Gene Hackman movie about a horse race, a 70s movie, and it's very intense. And that's these horses sweat, and they're toned animals, but they do not ride straight for 4.5 hours to go.
Sure, they don't have the infinite strength and energy to just go and go and go.
Mm-hmm. And that's why with the Pony Express, what they would do is you would ride for a couple hours, and there'd be a station, and then you'd get off, you'd get new horses, you'd leave your old horses there, and you'd get on new horses and then ride to the next station.
What happens to the horse you left behind?
They would feed them, water them, down. And then when the next guy came, the horse would be ready because he would have.
Okay, so it's like a rest station for the horse. I was afraid that I was like bolt to the head next horse. You know what I mean? Okay, all right, I'm fine.
And you got to always remember, a horse is incredibly valuable.
Sure,
it is not a commodity you use lightly because you cannot just go get another horse. A horse it's like your car. You don't. I drove my car for an hour and I'm just going to get a new car because I'm tired of that old car. No.
I would if I had like Robert Downey Jr. money. You know what I mean?
Even Robert Downey Jr. doesn't do that. Even.
You don't know. Don't pretend you're friends with RDJ.
I follow him on no social media, so I don't know.
None at all. Never before in my life.
So Turnbull's like, oh, you let him go? Okay, go find what he loves and bring it to me.
Great. Like we're just doing the same thing we did in the beginning, which again negates the entire first scene. Doesn't matter. But my question is, how do they know that he loves her? Because one, I don't believe he does. for number one,
he'd have probably bought her out of slavery if he actually loved her.
Right, for sure. I don't know, man. None of this makes any sense.
You don't know where he lives. You don't know what towns he hangs out. And that's the other thing about this movie is these are not short distances going from South Carolina to Missouri to wherever it happens in. These are not short distances. Not short distances. Long distances.
And like, it's not like they have like the internet or like social media check-ins where they're like, oh, he was at this brothel. I guess let's go check that one out.
And he does not have the magical power to talk to all the dead people in the world and know everything magical. So
Truth.
Hex falls off his horse, and now we have the other side, which is this weird dried out red riverbed or something with like a little coffin in it. And we enact like this fight between Hex and Turnbull, which continues. And it is the most stakesless fight that ever existed in any movie.
I mean, one, it's not even real. This is what I mean by there's stuff in this movie. They couldn't even fill an 80-minute movie because this is like a side parallel dream universe where they're just fighting by a coffin, and they intermix this with the final battle at the end.
Like,
why are we doing cuts from a real world to a fake world? Just give me the real fight in real time, you animals.
With no consequences. It's not like, oh, on the other side, I can gain an advantage over him.
Oh.
Wait, what's happening? Are we
just up a little wasteful?
So Fassbender shows up. Right. Fassbender shows up at Megan Fox's room and like dances on the furniture and jumps around like he's in Midsummer's Night Dream, and it's just the weirdest thing you've ever seen. I shall take thee to thy fairy realm, and thine shall be my bride. It's like, what is happening? It's so weird.
Yeah, I played King Oberon in high school. One of my first performances. Yeah.
Give us a line.
I was awful. I don't remember any of it, but I was in the Shakespeare Club, and I hated Shakespeare. I didn't understand iambic pentameter at the time. I didn't even know half the words we were saying. I just knew like what I was supposed to feel at the time, and I just kind of did my best. It was embarrassing.
I read some Shakespeare a couple years ago. Not a couple, like a year ago. And I watched some things online and people trying to explain Shakespeare, and they got it wrong. They were like, it was pretty interesting because once you study all this shit, like we've studied a lot, you kind of understand what's going on there. And it's like, but when you're a kid and you're trying to read Shakespeare, it's the most baffling shit that exists on the planet.
Yeah, nothing. Just whoosh, right over the head.
Okay, so he's got Megan's Fox. She tries to pull the gun. He pulls the knife, and who knows? He's got her.
I don't know, he gets her, yeah.
So the dog helps Jonah. He gets him to these Native Americans. And then the Native Americans take him in. We never see them.
Nope.
He barfs up a crow.
What is happening in this scene, Dan?
I don't know.
I don't understand any of it.
All very symbolic and evocative of nothing.
Of what? I don't understand what we're... I don't know.
Like this is a director saying, wouldn't it be cool if like he barfed a ghost crow and then a real crow? And I would have
been fired off this movie immediately because I would have been like, no, that's not cool. That's dumb. Why? Why is he doing that?
And then once again, here he is riding off to go do stuff. Does he say thank you to the Indians that just saved his life?
No, he just leaves.
Oh, sorry, Native Americans. And he's got his army of crow behind him. He does not say thank you.
Yeah,
They do not exist
this
as
is the
people
scene.
or characters or anything. Like, talk about just really like crapping on everything. Like,
Yeah.
at least give them faces or names.
No. That's too much.
No.
That's too much.
We would have to pay these actors and have them do things when we can have Michael Fassbender wearing a bowler and tattoos and reenacting Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream.
Dancing around.
So,
and this is the scene where he's got like 80 crows behind him. But then when we get to the next scene that he's in, there's no crows.
they all went.
So where did the crows go? Why are they there? I don't understand the crows.
Act 3.
Okay. The Crowless Act.
It's night again. He finds the boat.
Exterior, dusk.
Wait, 6 years. Oh, that's right. 6
years.
6 years. It's been 6 years since Hex's kids were killed. We're given that information now, which, oh yeah, this is where Turnbull kills the Southern dandy that's been helping him for no reason.
Yep.
And then Hex is trying to sneak onto the boat, and here comes Michael Fassbender, and we're gonna have it out between the two of them, right? Right there, like 20 feet away from everybody else. We are going to have the loudest fight in the world. No one's going to hear anything.
Well, they're all very busy, Dan. I don't know if you noticed. They're all working, walking around, talking to each other. It's hard.
Well, at one point after the fight, we go up there and they're all chanting, Turnbull, Turnbull. So
right.
I think the assumption is that they were chanting Turnbull for the whole
time.
The whole 6 minutes of the fight. That's the thing. So they fight. And at one point, Hex literally sets his own hand on fire and uses that as a weapon. Tony.
Here's my biggest problem with this scene is that starts with Fassbender asking him, like, what's it like to go through life with a face like that? And he goes, I'll show you, and touches his face with the fire hand. But then he kills him seconds later. That's not showing him what it's like to go through life with a messed up face. Why is that line even in the movie?
He should have really messed up his face and then left him writhing.
And they just left him to live his life as a mutant.
Should have ground off half of his face with the gear as opposed to killing him.
Ooh, yes.
And then he just would like wander off like, ah! That would have been
So you don't like him setting his hand on fire?
I was going to call you Shannon. Tony.
Don't call me Shannon.
You remind me of my wife.
Thank you, Dan.
When they talk about pain, what is the biggest pain that there is?
Is it fire?
I believe it is third-degree burns. Third-degree burns,
okay.
Where you get basically what it is your nerve endings are exposed to the world. So if you blow up your nerve, I had that with a tooth at one point.
Ooh,
and
that's no good.
When they touch that open nerve, you freeze and your heart wants to explode. Imagine every nerve ending in your very sensitive hands. You would not be functioning. You would be in a coma. You would be so unhappy.
That's the crazy thing about your body is like these nerve endings. You think they're just like here, but they go all like your spine like clenches up, like it. You feel it everywhere. It's so intense, but not my boy Hex.
Not Hex.
He's good.
He's been dead before. Nothing means anything for him.
I thought for a minute that he could control fire. I thought that was one of his magic abilities because they don't tell me what any of his abilities are. They just kind of use them randomly. So I thought maybe he could control fire. Turns out he can't.
So Hex has a gun, rifle. He's going to shoot Turnbull. And then Turnbull's like, oh, wait, look, there's Hex. And then somehow he's giving this rousing speech with Megan Fox right there, ready to go. And he's like, picks her up like, human shield.
I mean, listen, I'd keep her around too.
So here we go. He surrenders. And so they tie him up downstairs. They chain him up downstairs.
Because he loves her.
Whatever. So we're upstairs, 3 minutes to range. Another ship comes in. We got 3 minutes to finish this stupid movie. They're downstairs, and Hex is like, you got that little gun. You got this. You got that. And she's like, I got a bobby pin. We're free.
Yeah. Listen, my problem with that scene is that I don't know. Listen, I got lots of problems. But the whole joke is that they frisked her inappropriately. That's like the joke of that scene. It's like, did you take the gun from your bosoms? What about the ones on your legs? What about the one between your butt cheeks? Is not exactly what he said, but might as well. And she's like, oh, he frisked me good. Wouldn't you? And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? But then she unlocks the thing, and I was like, see, she's a cool character. We're just not using her. Why is she in this movie?
Oh, because they needed someone to like be something someone would want to look at. Like you've got Jonah Hex. Like, so she picks the lock.
I like looking at Josh Brolin. He's a good looking guy.
And then she turns into a murder machine. She just is like shooting, knifing, shooting, just like she kills more people than he does at this end scene.
Yeah, because she's way cooler than he is, and it should have been her movie instead of his.
So he goes up there. He uses the flamethrower, and now we start crossing back and forth between the real fight and the fake ghost fight, which is just
the dumbest idea ever.
Terrible. The one minor thing is she's trying to get this tomahawk to kill the one bald guy that everybody tries to creep up on, who like waits right there, and he turns around, and you're like, who is this guy? Ah! You're like, we keep having this like medium shot of him from behind and trying to creep up on him. And like 3 times he turns around and it doesn't work.
And it's like, oh, okay.
I'm like,
what are we doing?
I don't know who this character is. I don't know where. So she's like reaching for this tomahawk, and the tomahawk falls down there, and it falls right to where Jonah Hex is, and he uses it to tomahawk. And then we blow up the ship, and it's 4th of July.
Yeah, and there's that kid on the stands. He's like, "Oh, look, fireworks or some shit." I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but he's like happy to see it. And I was like, "Guys, these are not fireworks. It's that it's a ship blowing up. You can see the ship, and it is exploding."
Tony, I'm going to ask you a question.
Please do.
So in the town, they shot like 6 balls and then 1 explosive ball, right?
Yeah.
And then they were going to shoot like 50 balls off into the city.
Yeah,
and then
which feels like a lot of balls, but yep.
So and we saw the 1 box. How many of the orange balls were there?
12?
12 or 16, I would say. 12.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. So we've used how many of the good balls? Like 3 or 4?
4. I think 4. Yeah.
So ostensibly we have 12 between 8 and 12. Basically double, triple the amount of like 5 times the amount of we acted upon that town.
Yeah.
What should have happened to that ship and most of the bay?
It all should have blown. It should have been like a nuclear weapon, essentially. It should have just boom, cleared it all out.
Been knocked over even if they were a quarter mile away. But no, we do the classic Hollywood. We're going to run and jump off the ship.
Yeah.
Painful.
It's a great movie.
It's great.
It's a really great movie.
Then we get to the end. The president's like, "Here's your money. Here's your pardon. Here's your sheriff's badge, so you can."
Yeah, I want you to be the sheriff of the United States of America. And then Hex has to be the one to tell the president that America doesn't have a sheriff per se. What is happening?
But he also has to say,
"Who wrote that?
But call me if you need me."
Because we're best friends. I mean, if ostensibly at some point in the past he said that as well, and that's why the president called him. I have to imagine.
So we're outside. Him and Megan Fox are like walking away, and they have like a little bit
on the fakest green screen bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
They have like a little bit of witty dialogue between them. And I have to say that was the most believable dialogue in the entire movie was their little bit.
Yeah, well, because it's 2 humans just talking to each other.
And you know what else I'm going to say? And this is why, this is going to be my final giant critique of the whole movie.
Oh boy.
Is the reason why that worked is because that occurred outside in daytime. And the problem with this movie is Westerns occur outside in daytime. And you
Yeah.
can't and even like the little stupid and what was the other part you sort of liked was the beginning part where he went into town with the dead bodies. That
Yep.
place
At daytime.
in daytime. And
All
that's
true.
where Westerns occur. And they occur because we can see the characters, we can see what's going on, and because you have to really prove the situation. When you have dark and people are shooting cross dynamite crossbows, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like
No, it does not.
it's like an Independence Day when they're flying towards the ship and there are things shooting in every direction. We don't care. We don't
Yeah.
care. What we care about
But
in a
we
Western
care.
is faces and guns and true jeopardy.
Yes. Yeah, True Jeopardy. That's good. That's good. Just like the original Independence Day, great movie, when Randy Quaid is the one driving through tons of blasters, and he's like drives right in the thing, and he's like, "I'm back." I'm crying. He's so good. Anyhow, not to bring it back to Independence Day.
But it's true. Why did Independence Day work? Because of that initial set scene where it's Will Smith versus one alien ship. One mano a mano. We get to
So
see the situation right down to where he walks up to the alien in the desert. We all remember that scene. We will not remember.
Welcome to Earth.
And he drops a real line. He drops a real line.
Great stuff.
And that's what a Western is. And that scene was a Western scene in Independence Day because it was one-on-one.
Yeah.
Showing us 1,000 things happening at once means nothing to us.
Or even better in this movie, a lot of stuff happens off screen. Maybe it's because it's PG-13. I think it's just because this guy doesn't know how to direct action. But a lot of like the death and the gunfights happen off screen while we're looking a different direction, and then we cut to the aftermath of what just happened. And I'm like, what? Why did we miss all that?
You know, we don't care when we watch Snake Man fight random dude in a pit. We don't. How are we supposed to care about this? It doesn't mean anything.
I definitely didn't.
You know, it's like if the bad guy puts Jonah Hex in there, and we don't see Jonah Hex actually have to figure something out. That he's
like a nice fist-to-fist fight.
I mean, is Jonah Hex ever not in control of all situations?
Well, he wasn't in control when he got shot by Fassbender, and then Fassbender left him because he had other important things to do.
And
but it worked out.
That was that led into your end of Act 2, which led into Act 3, which is fine. It wasn't handled well. But
no.
You know, you had to put some jeopardy in there.
Sure.
You know, whatever. So
are they together at the end of the movie?
Who?
Megan Fox and Jonah Hex.
They right off into the
I don't know her character name.
That's because she didn't play character. It's Lila.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I only know that because I looked up the action figures that they made.
But and also, isn't Lila like a nickname or something? When she's chained up, I feel like she says that it's a nickname or something. Now it's all coming back. I don't know.
And I mean,
you're right.
That's the whole thing is, if we'd have made that scene where they were chained up, if we'd have made that scene actually 3 or 4 minutes long, and we really learned some stuff about these characters at that point, and we really got into them,
like the classic Indiana Jones scene, which is them tied to a post and having like an actual conversation, and we learn about his like belief and not belief, and it's a whole character arc. It doesn't matter. Anyhow.
And that's when we learn. We have quiet moments in the midst of a lot of bluster, and you really need. God, what was I watching? I was watching something, and it just had must have been something I watched because of Independence Day. There were just like these extended periods where there was no action, and there was just character.
Sure.
And you were like, we love this,
Yeah.
That's why you make a movie, is so we have extended wonderful action. And then we have all these nice, I always remember in Captain America Winter Soldier when he and Black Widow are driving out to the missile base or whatever it is, where where it is, and they're in the car, and she's got her feet up on the thing. And it's just like, it's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that scene maybe more than any other scene in that whole movie, because it's a character moment where he's talking about his disassociation from the existence that he lives in and how he finds it hard to connect. And she is there as a friend, wanting to try to figure out how if she can make him connect to the world. Thank you. This is these are characters that are going through stuff, and we learn that they care about each other. If Megan Fox wasn't just like, you love me, you don't love me, I don't love you, I can't love you, I have a heart, I don't care about any of these things. Have her say,
100%.
Have you been gone so long? Have her say something that cares about him, not, you got to save me from all this prostitution, and now you're treating me like a prostitute. What the fuck?
Yeah.
No. Show us, don't
it's too
tell
much.
us. And the corollary to show us, don't tell us is, you can tell us stuff, but don't tell us the stuff that you're trying to tell us. I think that's the thing that, that's the thing about show us, don't tell us, that doesn't get, you're still going to have dialogue in there.
Yeah, of course.
But don't be hitting it on the nose. Dance around it so that we understand what their relationship is, because we don't understand what their relationship is at all.
I have no idea.
No idea.
None.
So
anyhow, great movie.
So fuck
great
you,
movie, guys.
Fuck you. All that said, like I said, it is one of the worst movies as a movie, construction wise, but not one of the most painful movies where you hate the.
For sure. No, it's not. It's not like overly offensive. It's just kind of like, boy, this is shitty.
A lot of missed opportunity. It felt like a giant missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they probably feel that way too. I think they sunk a lot of money into it.
Yeah, who knows? But I think and you start from a major problem of Jonah Hex is not a character. He doesn't start out as a character. He doesn't have that basis like a Spider-Man does, a Superman does, a Batman does, where you can really explore what the hell is going on with these people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to check out the comics at some point.
No, you're not.
Yes, I do, Dan. I want to know where it came from.
So, Tony!
Yes!
Now's the time for you to tell us about something you like this week.
Everybody go check out Kevin Can F Himself on AMC and AMC Plus. Fun show. Buddy of ours is in it. And let's go support him, everybody. Get a season 2. Hashtag season 2.
Season 2 it. Season 2 it. Yep. Tony's a good friend, Alex. Well, Tony's friend. Alex.
Well, we're friendly. We're friendly.
But it's nice because, we did a lot of acting classes and all this kind of garbage with people. And it's really fun to watch people have some successes in Hollywood, because that's very hard to do.
The right people. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that if they got it, I'd be like, fuck this town, man. I'm out of here. But he's a genuinely good dude.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. Deserves it, and I'm excited for him.
I'm just going to do your basic Loki shout out. And
of course.
I've just done the first episode, which I enjoyed. And, we're getting some of the hardcore male fan backlash against the show. And I was talking.
Are we really? I didn't know that.
There's like this, I don't know if it's extensive, but, I was watching this one guy that I always watch because he's so he gets so worked up about everything. And it's so sad. And I mean, right. Some of it you're like, okay, where things are too woke and they go too far in the one direction, but it's like,
sure.
Loki is programming that is meant to appeal to men and to women. And I think it's supposed to very much appeal to women because Tom Hiddleston is not your classic. He's not your Chris Hemsworth. I said to my wife, I'm like Tom Hiddleston, and she says, yes, please.
He's smart. He's sexy. He's witty. I love him. I'm on board.
And I think they were complaining about not enough action or something. It's like he's talking about his emotions and feelings, and I'm like, this is super interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I feel like people got mad at WandaVision too for not being like the typical Marvel action, blah blah blah. But that's the whole point of these Disney Plus is like they can do something different that's not just the 2-hour fan event I mean, I'm having a good time with it.
Well, they're doing the thing that is incredibly smart, which is continuously trying to grow the fan base and invest
Absolutely.
more women into this thing. And when more women are invested, you have more female characters. And I've been watching all these acting things, these Hollywood Reporter, acting panels, and it's like, man, and writing panels, and some of them are just so incredibly white, and it's very much, men talking about men who made men films, blah, men, and it's like,
I wonder if that's where the theme song to 2.5 Men came from, Dan. Men.
And so, that we exist in a world where more and more of these perspectives, are being dealt with.
Yeah.
God bless them, because it's interesting to me. I'd rather see more interesting filmmaking than just more of this, more Jonah Hexes, which, throw this McG garbage in the garbage pail.
This isn't McG. Don't put his name on this, Dan. Cow.
He thought
giving my boy a bad name.
He was there. So I think the next two movies we should do both of the Ghost Rider movies, just to like really.
I would do Ghost Rider, Dan.
We're gonna do those at some point, because I remember watching the first one and not understanding what the hell was going on. And I am a huge childhood Ghost Rider fan, and so.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So Tony,
beautiful.
Now's the time. Drum roll, please. What do we have on board for next week?
I was just sitting there the other day, and I was like, I want to do more blockbusters. I love blockbusters because they're my kind of movie.
Tony's word.
They're big, they're loud. I like things that don't take themselves too seriously. So what we're gonna do is a movie that saw Transformers and was like, we needed to do that, but with board games. And so we are going to watch Battleship. And I am so excited.
Have you seen it? I have not seen it.
I saw it in the theaters opening weekend. That was 10, 12 years ago. Like, it's a decade ago. And I remember walking out being pretty upset and never seeing it again. So I'm ready to go back. Get back in the waters, as they say.
I cannot believe we haven't thought of Battleship before. That one had not even crossed my mind. It's funny how Jonah Hex and Battleship both probably came out comparable time periods.
Might have, yeah.
And both, everybody knows these movies are garbage. And we just had not gotten around to, I think there is a vein, the Cutthroat Island, the Battleship, the Jonah Hex, the movies that are just really terrible. That don't make it onto the terrible lists, but really should be at the top of the terrible lists.
Yeah. But I'm ready. I'm ready to get back in.
Who even stars in this movie?
Well, so the reason why it came up to me, or popped in my head, is because I was talking about Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård, who was in this movie.
Who we love.
Liam Neeson is in this movie.
Who we love.
And Taylor Kitsch is in this movie, who has had a tough go of it, you guys. It's not his fault, and I'm sure I'll talk about this next week. This poor guy is just doing his best in shitty movie after shitty movie. Unbelievable.
Oh, it is interesting when you start to see like these threads emerge. You see Will Arnett in like Turtles and in this movie. You're like, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
These guys end up with these resumes that you're like, ooh, man, that is a painful dagger.
That's tough.
I was also watching a little thing on YouTube with Timothy Oliphant, and he brought up Hitman, which we're going to have to do at some point.
We should. I love him so much. Never saw Hitman, but
okay.
Yeah, never saw it.
We're going to be going either Hitman, Ghost Rider. We're going to go in someplace like that in the next movie because
I'm in. I'm ready.
I want to go back to one of those movies because I remember Hitman being not terrible but problematic.
Sure.
And so he was basically intimating that it's like you go in with good intentions and you come out.
Of course, nobody wants to make a shitty movie. I don't think. Maybe some people do. I would do it. Yeah. But like you go in, and even when you're doing it, sometimes it feels great, but sometimes you're there and you're like, oh God, this is gonna suck. I can't believe how did I get here? What have I done?
I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he had more than a small
knew,
clue
man.
as to what was happening with that. I think
That guy, he's got his shit together. Good for him for getting his name taken off. I love it.
Well, this has been Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. If you like what you see, tell a friend, because friends are the most important thing in your life, other than food and water. Water is the most important thing in your life.
Water's good.
Number one. But then food, then friends. And
where's family?
That's friends and family. F and F.
Oh, friends, it's all the F's.
So water, food, shelter, friends and family.
Hate Watching with Dan and Tony.
Watching with Dan and Tony. We're right there. We're like number 5.
Yeah, we're right up there.
Number freaking 5.
We're climbing the ranks, baby.
So like and subscribe, and we'll probably see you next time.
Come back and sink our battleships. Bye, everybody.
Bye.